I love my country, the UK, England, but I'm leaving it. And taking my kids with me is definitely going to be the hardest thing I've ever had to do. As a parent, I've got this internal battle between, taking the kids away from their family, their friends, their school, and everything that they've got familiar with versus, what their future looks like if we stay, what my future looks like selfishly if I stay and we repeat the same pattern for the next, 15, 16 years. And those internal emotions are conflicting with each other a fair amount. So in this video, I'm kind of going to just explore why I'm feeling this way. And if you're a UK resident and you're planning on leaving the UK or you already have left the UK, I'm sure that we can relate and bond maybe over this experience. But for me, I just want to get it out there because it's going to help me also process these emotions that I'm feeling and I'm not too sure about, to be honest with you. So to give some context, I was thinking about leaving the UK for about a year leading up to now. And I've got a partner, 2 kids, 2 dogs. My children are 3 and 5 years old. And for me, when it came to actually the first thoughts about leaving the UK, number one, I'm in business. So I've got a whole bunch of friends, business associates, clients who have actually left already. And after having so many conversations with them, I just honestly, all of the reasons that they left that they were telling me, I was just relating to every single one of them. If I was going to break down my top 3 list of why we're heading off, number one, I'm not going to beat around the bush. It's tax. It's tax efficiency. It's keeping more of what we earn and also believing a little bit more about where the money goes. For me, I don't believe in the UK government whatsoever in terms of their efficiency, how they control spending, what resources they fund, and generally just the impact of where those taxes are going. And I've been a tax-paying resident of the UK for a very, very long time now. My whole business career, essentially. Now that tax is out of the way, actually another big motivator of leaving was the whole weather equation. If you're in the UK, when the sun shines, this place is hard to beat. I love the countryside. I love walking up Cannock Chase. I live in Staffordshire, so we've got Cannock Chase on our doorstep. I love all of these things, but that's only for a very, very small portion of the year. Right now, there's a heat wave going on right now. We're in July, but generally speaking, for the rest of the year, it is glum. The rain, the grey, the day-to-day, the school runs when it's pissing it down, when it's grey, when it's cold. It's just not for me. So for me, going to a warmer climate is definitely a big motivator. The third point I'd say is you got taxes, you got weather, also just adventure. So I know it's cliche and I know it's kind of like, oh yeah, adventure. But at the same time, I'm bored. I am bored. On my 35th birthday, I sat in this office, which I'm giving up now. And on my 35th birthday, I've had a lot of success in business. I've had a lot of things go right. I've also had a lot of things go wrong as well. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll know that. But I've always been truthful in documenting everything and sharing the reality of my experience when it comes to business, sales, marketing, whatever. And for me, when it was my birthday in April, I had that second affirmation really that, man, I can't see myself doing the same thing for the next 10 years in this environment, and just keeping everything the same for me just filled me with dread. It was just like, can't be bothered with doing this again. And don't get me wrong, I've got a great life that I'm appreciative and grateful for. Kids go to great schools. I live in a great house in a place where there's no neighbors. I live on a farm. I've got so much to be grateful for here in the UK. So this isn't me trying to punch down on the UK. I see the trend where a lot of people, they leave the UK and then they start slagging it off, essentially. This isn't that video. However, for me, it was just that repetition of having nothing really different. 3 to 4 holidays a year on average is what we do. And I was just like, why are we going on these holidays? Why? Because it's usually warmer and more fun to go on those holidays than if we didn't. So for me, it's like if we can go to an environment that isn't necessarily a holiday because we're going to be living there, but even if we could go to an environment which is new, where I could discover things. I've also lived in different countries. I lived in America for 3 years. I played basketball over there. I lived in Australia for 6 months. I've lived in London for 4 years. So I've lived in different environments. It doesn't necessarily have to be a change in country, but different environments bring different ideas, bring different experiences, different friends, networks, different opportunities. And for me, that was the third and final kind of motivating decider. So it's taxes, weather, and then just new, something new. And look, I might be on here in a year from now saying, hey, that new got boring very, very quickly. But I also might be here in 5 years saying that new got boring very, very quickly. So for me, there's a little bit of excitement about hitting the road, a little bit of excitement about taking the family into a new environment, us all learning together, experiencing different things. That fills me with excitement. And I'm not getting any younger. Like I said, it was my 35th birthday. Repetition for me is death. I need more stimulation and I need newer experiences. But beyond my 3 points, I'd love to hear yours. What's motivated you guys if you are expats thinking of leaving or have already left? Let me know what your motivations were, and I'd be keen to hear what everyone else thinks down below. Now, back to the kids. Obviously, being a father of 2 young children comes with its own stresses, and the initial place we were thinking about going was Dubai. Recent events made that less attractive for us right now, but it's definitely not off the table moving to the Middle East. We're moving to Cyprus, and for me, I'm looking forward to, with the kids, more outdoor time. Given the weather's better, we can spend more time outdoors. We can enjoy being outside together. And with the way my children are, with their energy, that's definitely going to be a bonus for the house that we live in as well, because the amount of mess these guys make when they're bored is second to none. You can't you can't underestimate how a bored toddler will tear up a house in 60 seconds flat that you've just cleaned. So yeah, making that mess outside appeals to me. New environments for the kids, new experiences. I also just think it's exciting and cool for the kids to be able to say, like, one day, yeah, I lived abroad. I lived in Cyprus. I think it will round them more as individuals. It will give them way more confidence, and it will also shape who they are in a very positive way, living in a different environment so young. It will also open them up to different cultures. The Greek Cypriot culture is where we're going to. The people there are just so friendly. We scouted the place first. We didn't just jump all in without seeing what's going on. I've been back and forth a couple of times to secure the rental property that we're staying in, the villa. And every time I've gone, it's just been phenomenal. I've had no bad experiences. Not to say that they won't come, I'm sure they will. But I've almost gone there twice, 3 times now, and I've been looking for an excuse as to why this place wouldn't work for us. And there's nothing that's come up on the box. Like, of course, there's certain things that we'll miss about the UK. I kind of touched on the countryside, Cannock Chase and all of that. But ultimately, for the kids, I think it's going to be a really net positive outcome, not just for them, but for also me and my partner as well. So let's talk about the guilt factor, where they're not going to be around their cousins. They're not going to be around their aunties, uncles. Number one, I think it gives a much better excuse for family members to come out and see us. Of course, we're not planning on staying there 365 days a year. We're going to come home. We're going to see everybody. And I feel like that time will be more quality time because it's established to see family, see friends, be around the cousins, be around the aunties and the uncles as well. So I'm not too concerned about that. But there is that factor of, the kids and how they feel about it. So we're constantly having conversations with the kids, not to lead them as well, not to give them and influence the way that they think, but you don't want to fill them with fear by saying, hey, how do you feel about moving to Cyprus and you're not going to see your cousins as often as you do right now? You don't want to lead them down that path, obviously. But at the same time, it's sad because, there is comfort and there is security in knowing so-and-so's down the road, or on a weekend when nothing's on, let's call up so-and-so. But I also think that brings some space for new relationships and new things to do and new people to meet and bond with. And there is no shortage of British people around the world. Obviously, there's more in some places than other. You go to Dubai, there's hundreds of thousands of them. You go to Cyprus, there's tens of thousands of them. Just by the scale of the place, it's going to be smaller. But there are a lot of Brits abroad, and these aren't people who are just holidaying. These are people who are actively building a new life in a new environment, or improving their life in a new environment as well. So I'm looking forward to sharing that experience, not just online, but also in the real world, mainly where, the parents of the kids in the children's classes, that's obviously a place where you meet people. The parks, the neighbors, wherever those interactions take place, I am actually looking forward to that. And I feel like hopefully we'll be able to get the best of both worlds, where we have quality time with the family and friends that we're obviously going to miss, but then we're also going to get amazing times and new memories and new relationships with people that we meet as well. So really and truly, what does a successful move look like when leaving the UK, pulling the kids out with us? Obviously, number one priority is that the kids are having a great time. They are loving life and they are at their best and thriving. That is priority number one. If that can be achieved, I feel like everything else will fall into place. Obviously, I'm nervous. They've been on holidays, X amount of times. They know they're coming back. And when they do come back, they do like their comforts. They do like their toys. They do like their things. I remember coming back from a holiday recently and my son just sat and played on his own independently for at least an hour and a half, which is unheard of. The guy was just locked in on his own toys. Brilliant, brilliant news for us for that short period of time. And I feel like if they are settled and they are having a really good time, or even not if they're not having the best time, but they understand, how to adapt and they start building new skills and it starts improving their experience from our support. And that they're, one thing that we have done, and I'm rambling now, I know, but one thing we have done is we've shipped over a container of all of their stuff. So I think that shipping stuff over, we're in two minds. Do we just buy new? Do we sell things we've got? We've decided to ship over a lot of the stuff that we have. And I feel like that's a major plus point now that it's done, because ultimately all of our familiarities are there. I mean, we're taking the dogs with us as well, which is its own process and headache to take the dogs out. But for me, the kids have got all of their stuff, all of the items that they take comfort in, their toys, their clothes, everything, essentially. Their dogs, they've got their dogs there. Their two best mates, right? They're going to be there. Their parents obviously are going to be there. So for me, I feel like softening their landing has massively benefited from taking all of that with us. And hopefully the transition will be as smooth as possible for them. Success outside of that for the kids, I want to get them obviously integrated into activities as quickly as possible. Sports clubs, gymnastics, dance, whatever it is. Finding those spots locally where we're going is a major priority for us. We've already done some research. Things like, and even things that I don't even do right now. So I've always been keen in martial arts. I used to do martial arts as a teenager. Kickboxing and Thai boxing. I've seen that there's a Brazilian jiu-jitsu gym. There's 3 of them in Paphos where we're going. So I'm keen to also participate in the stuff that they're doing, right? For me, basketball was a big part of my life. So also finding a local basketball club, playing myself is something that I want to do, which is something that I do back here as well for a local club. So success for me is a soft landing, integrating fast. It's the summer holidays, so there's no school, which is going to have its own challenge of entertaining these guys, and then another transition into a new school, new class, new curriculum even, which again fills me with a bit of anxiety. But at the same time, ultimately, if everyone has a soft landing, everyone feels somewhat good about being out there. The way that it is, where we're living is fantastic. We've got this amazing villa. I mean, there's not a lot more I can do taking all our stuff there, having the dogs. Like, there's not a lot more I can do to try and set this up to be a good soft landing. So I'm planning on updating you guys on how that goes. And you know what? I'm going to be honest. Yeah, even videos like this, normally all my content on my YouTube is just business, marketing related stuff. And I just want to document the real emotions behind this. I've left the country before for a significant amount of time, but that was when I was young. I had no responsibilities. I wasn't a father. And the biggest concern for me, and it's probably for you, which is why you're on this video, is how will the kids react to moving countries away from everything they've ever known? And I think they're going to love it. Deep down, I think they're absolutely going to love it. They're going to have the time of their lives, experiencing new stuff just like we are. And I feel like later in life, it will be the spark to them, hopefully, going on many, many more adventures. If you are in the same position as me and you guys are heading out, or you're heading out as a family, follow along for the journey. Obviously, I'm going to be posting more content. There's already a video up about house hunting in Cyprus on my channel. Feel free to check it out. And yeah, there ain't going to be much editing, post-production on these things. It's just going to be raw takes from my experience. And hopefully I'll be able to look at these videos even 3 to 6 months from now, like, wow, all of those concerns were validated, but they weren't necessary because everything's absolutely amazing and it's fine. Fingers crossed. I'll see you on the next one.